The Digimon Adventure Reboot's 61st episode gives us the best look yet at the 2021 version of Seraphimon, and Angemon's Mega has honestly never looked better. While we have yet to see the complete formal debut of Seraphimon, this essence form is by far the clearest essence form we've seen. From all the Megas and from the huge upper body, you can see just how much power this holy Digimon is going to bring to the final battle. So this is the episode 61 recap review video. If you're clicking onto this channel for the first time, welcome. We do weekly discussions of the 2020 Digimon reboot that at the time of recording we believe to be ending in 5 weeks at episode 66. So if you're interested in the show or just want to know how it all ends, consider subscribing. I always feel weird about asking you to subscribe, but I did it last week and it was my highest subscriber day in like 90 days, all because I asked and you answered, so thanks. And if this is your third or fourth Digino video and you haven't subscribed, maybe it's time. Okay, but episode 61 is a TK/Takeru focused episode, and there isn't that much to say about it, honestly, at least not the first half. It's one of the lighter episodes we've seen in weeks, just in terms of story beats, though there are a few cool things to talk about for sure. The focus of the episode is getting our old friend Eldoradimon back up to the Cloud Continent, the area where we first met this gigantic Digimon before, and where we started our adventure before falling into the true digital world. TK has had a soft spot for this guy since day one and actually freed him from Devimon's grip around episode 20, so TK is determined to help Eldoradimon get back to the Cloud Continent by pushing him up a mountain that he keeps slipping down. A crew of Digimon are just sort of watching from the sidelines to make sure TK doesn't get hurt, and among this crew is Leomon, who, if I'm not mistaken, is setting an all-time record for staying alive. Seriously, this is episode 61 out of 66, and Leomon is still kicking. I don't want to jinx it, but so far so good, Leomon. 5 more weeks, you've only got 5 more weeks, you can do it. Leomon actually tells us that these Digimon have been displaced after the battle with Millenniummon. It was nice to finally have someone acknowledge the digital world existing in a post-Millenniummon era. Like, we haven't really said that Digimon's name since defeating it, so it was almost like it didn't exist or didn't happen. It was like when you play a game and there's this huge epic final boss battle, but after the credits you just load back into the world right before the final boss, like nothing's really changed. But the fact these Digimon are without homes after the explosive battle communicates to us that the world is fundamentally changed, which I like. Eventually these bystander Digimon begin to help TK and start chipping in. This includes Tai, Greymon, and Leomon. A Digimon named Gravimon refuses to help and points out that unlike Eldoradimon, who has a home to return to, these Digimon, including itself, lost their homes in that battle with Millenniummon, and not everyone is so lucky to have a place to return to. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the sort of fake out that Gravimon wasn't this big bad villain like the preview made him out to be. Like, we didn't have an Angemon versus Gravimon fight or anything, but I kind of was also hoping that maybe we would get a fight, like maybe a little more confrontation this week. But then again, we always complain that the show's formula means every week there's a fight, so it isn't too bad that once in a while there isn't a real fight in the last 5 minutes of the episode. This week's true enemy was really just gravity. TK kind of has a counterpoint to Gravimon, saying that it's the very same fact that Eldoradimon does have a home that we should help him, asking Gravimon to empathize basically. Eventually we get to the top of the mountain only for things to start crumbling under Eldoradimon's weight. At this point it seems like all hope is lost until Gravimon uses its powers to levitate TK, Angemon, and Eldoradimon and agrees to help send Eldoradimon home. Angemon goes to Holy Angemon, the same evolution animation from his debut, and it's still a little underwhelming, especially given how great of a Digimon design Holy Angemon is. But next we get a final push that brings out Seraphimon's essence or aura form, and I said at the top of this video, this has got to be the best essence form we've seen in the show so far. It's almost entirely visible, like it's incredibly detailed, every single line, instead of just a shining colored silhouette. And what I love about this 2021 Seraphimon is how broad the shoulders are. His armor is gigantic and he looks super powerful. Like, he maintained the upper body strength of Godramon and just contained and transferred that energy into a human/anthropomorphic form. I have to imagine Seraphimon fans are going to love this redesign, and if his full debut maintains this look with, you know, the super large shoulders and that scale where he is like 2 times the size of Holy Angemon, I think this will be the best Seraphimon has ever looked. So with that final mega level push, we get Eldoradimon home, and that's our episode. Now, similar to the Sora and Phoenixmon episode, this is one without a true antagonist, but after thinking about it, I kind of like it because this was one of the more clear embodiments of a character's crest. I feel like hope, you know, TK's crest of hope, was exhibited and on full display in TK's push to get Eldoradimon back home, and it was infectious, causing the other Digimon, including Gravimon, to help out just based on, you know, TK's hope. Next week, we have the opposite of a fan favorite. Shakomon appearing. This is of course TK and Cody's Angemon and Ankylamon DNA Digivolution fusion from back in Digimon 02, which has kind of underwhelmed for 20 years, but the plot synopsis ties this character to an ancient battle. I hope that the ancient battle is the ancient holy war from the first coming of Millenniumon, and that we get to revisit that story and possibly get some closure on it before moving into the great catastrophe kind of endgame. Sora is our lead character next week in what has to be our final character episode. Besides Tai. She's the only one without her crest appearing, again besides Tai, which is interesting since she already had her Mega. I think that will be all for this week. Everyone, let me know what you thought of this week's episode. Are you losing interest in the show, or are you still hooked and invested on seeing how things end? Or are you just waiting for Digimon Ghost Game to start up? Are you thinking this next episode will finally steer the Sora ship in the right direction and give her the characterization that she's been lacking? Or is it just impossible for the 2020 writers to get Sora right in this new series? Thanks for watching. Like the video and subscribe if you haven't, just to do me that personal favor if you enjoy the videos. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.